Okay, let's see this question. We're given function f defined as the numerator is a rational expression, right? This is a rational expression. As input -1 divided by input +1. So the composition of functions f of g of x, the input is g of x. So allow me to write here. So f of g of x, that's input, which is g of x, -1, divided by the input g of x +1, right? Because g of x is the input. So that's how function f is defined. The numerator is the input -1, the denominator is the input +1. Well, then this is given as this. So we can equal to 2x + 1 divided by x - 3. Now we can cross multiply, right? So we focus on this equation. So g of x -1 divided by g of x +1 equals 2x + 1 divided by x - 3. Now we can cross multiply. We use this numerator multiply by this denominator. This is called cross multiplication. Why this is true? Let's use a simple example. Let's see. We know half equals 3/6. How do we prove? We cross multiply. 2 times 3 is 6. 1 times 6 is 6. So this is cross multiplication. So allow me to write here. So we have g of x -1 multiplied by x - 3. That equals to 2x + 1 multiplied by g of x + 1. Then we just FOIL, right? We have two terms multiplied by two terms. Same thing on the right-hand side, two terms times two terms. So we FOIL, we do first one times first one, second one times second one. Those two multiply, those two multiply. You can imagine these two people in the group, you know, they are friends. And this is another two people in another group, and this is a match, so they shake each other's hands. Because those two people know each other in the same group, they do not have to multiply, right? So g of x times x, so I have g of x times x. So let's write x in front of g of x. Then -3 times -1 is +3. -1 times x, that's -x. G of x times -3, that's -3 g of x. So we're treating g of x as an input, as a variable. So because we need to solve for g of x, that's our goal. We want to find g of x in terms of x. So the right-hand side, same thing, we multiply 2x with g of x, we get a 2x times g of x. Then 1 times 1, get a +1. 1 times g of x, that's g of x. Then 2x times 1, that's 2x. Now let's simplify. So how do we simplify? We need to combine like terms. So we have x, g of x. So we want to put a g, because our goal is to solve a g of x. So we want to put the terms of g of x together. So -3 g of x. So we have x -3 g of x. G of for x is a common factor of those two terms, okay? Then +3 minus x. That's on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, we have 2x, g of x, then g of x. So same thing, we factor out g of x, we have 2x plus 1 times g of x, right? Because this is 1 multiplied by g of x. So once we factor out g of x, we still have 1. So we have 2x plus 1 times g of x. Then the other two terms is 1 plus 2x. So plus 1 plus 2x. All right, so now we see these two terms both have g of x in it. right? So this has g of x, this has g of x. And we want to combine those two terms. So what do? We have x minus 3. So once we move this one to the other side, it becomes negative, right? We can think minus 2x plus 1 times g of x on both sides. So I have x minus 3 minus 2x minus 1 of g of x times g of x. Then the other side, we have 1 plus 2x. Then we move this one to the right-hand side. It becomes negative. So minus 3 minus negative x become plus x. Simplify, we have x minus 2x, that's negative x. Minus 3 minus 1, that's minus 4 of g of x. This side, we have 2x plus x, 3x. 1 minus 3, that's minus 2. Now we're solving for g of x. So all we have to do is just divide both sides. I want to change my color by negative x minus 4 on both sides. Right. In this case, we got something divides itself on the right-hand side. We're left with g of x. So g of x equals to 3x minus 2. In the numerator, denominator, we have negative x minus 4. Too many negative signs. So let's factor out negative sign. So we can write as x plus 4 inside the parentheses. Same thing, maybe we factor out negative sign from the numerator. Right? Once we do that, we get a negative 3x plus 2. Negative in the numerator, negative in the denominator, negative divided by negative become positive. So we can rewrite this as 2 minus 3x divided by x plus 4. So that's g of x, right? G of x is 2 minus 3x divided by x plus 4.